Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or more likely welcome to my channel. I'm going to be discussing my journey to vet school today, everything I had to go through, the whole long process. Basically I'm going to be covering everything from high school up until now. I think it's been a very long process, and especially everyone's experience is really diverse, especially being in vet school now and getting to talk to different vet students. Everyone has a very different path that they've gone on to get here, so I'm just going to share it with you guys now. And if you like this content, please like it, please subscribe, please join along. I'm going to be posting every single Sunday, so come along. So basically when I was doing my final year of high school, which is called the HSC here, I knew the whole time that I wanted to be a vet, and that was always my plan from then, which I guess in a way I was lucky to know that. And my ultimate goal, I remember, was I wanted to get into the double degree, which was basically called your Bachelor of Veterinary Biology and Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. So that is just a 6-year program, and then you're done and you're a vet. And I remember thinking, that's perfect, that's exactly what I want. I would only be... I would have only been about 24 and been a graduated vet, and I remember thinking that that was the ideal because 24 was so old.
Come on, girl. Come on. Come on. Come on, girl.
I'm 23 now. So I remember I did that. That was my main one. And then other than that, my backup plan was going to the same university, which was the University of Sydney, but doing what was called a Bachelor of Science / Advanced Studies in Animal and Veterinary Bioscience, which is such a long name. And I remember I looked at the subjects and saw that a lot of the subjects were really similar to that double degree. So I thought, yeah, I'll do that. That's fine. And then maybe I can transfer, whatever. So that was my backup plan. So I put forth applications for both of those. Now, an extra piece that I did as I was applying and finishing up my final year of high school, I applied for what was called an educational access scheme. So this was basically if you had experienced challenges during your academic year, you could apply for this and basically get special circumstances, and it would add a certain amount of extra points to your final marks. I remember when I did that, I was so terrified because I had to go get a letter from a teacher, and I remember finding that the most traumatizing thing ever.
You still can't do it, bitch!
But I did it, I put it through, and I was so happy for myself for doing that. Now let's fast forward to the big day, the day that offers came out. So I was holding out hope this whole time. In the back of my head, I kept saying, no, oh my God, you deserve it. You're gonna get into the double degree, which looking back on it now, I was 18. I barely knew what I was doing. So because I applied for those special considerations, that came out before the offers came out. And I remember anxiously waiting, thinking I need to get these special circumstances. And when they came out, I got it. And I was over the moon. I immediately told my parents, and then I scrolled down to the bottom of the email and just, zoomed in, and it said at the bottom, unfortunately, this is not applicable for the University of Sydney.
What's this?
Now, this was the one university that I wanted to go to. So basically, doing everything to get this educational access scheme, these special circumstances, was all for nothing. I had done it all for nothing. And I remember I was so upset. And because offers hadn't come out yet, I was just sitting there praying that by the grace of God, I would get into this double degree, knowing that my raw mark was not quite enough to get into it. So spoiler alert, I ended up getting into my backup plan degree. I did not get into the double degree, clearly because I'm here now. I'm sure you could already tell that. But I was rejected from the double degree, and instead I got into the Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Advanced Studies in Animal and Veterinary Bioscience. The longest name ever. And I remember thinking that was the biggest deal, and it was so annoying, and yah. And I made a big deal out of it. I tried to go to the University of Sydney and say, is there any way I can apply for special circumstances? Is there anything I can do? No. So then I shifted. 2020, it was a new year. I said, it's going to be a great year, I said. That's what everyone said. Anyway, 2020 was when I started that degree. Now I planned in my head okay, we'll just do this for 1 year and then we'll be able to transfer. Because what everyone had always told me about university was transferring is easy.
Liar!
Now, what I wish someone had told to me back then was, yes, transferring is easy in general. But when it comes to vet school and everything to do with that, it is competitive no matter what. And transferring is incredibly hard. I'm not saying that it can't be done, but it is really hard to do. And I wish someone had just straight up told me the chances were a lot lower than I thought. Because especially during my first year, I said, well, I'm not going to finish this degree. I'm going to be able to transfer like everyone's told me. So I took the most random core subjects. I took a psychology class for fun. I took an ethics class for fun.
Nice.
I pretty much completely ignored my degree planning because I just had in the back of my head, you're not doing this degree, you're going to transfer, you're going to be a vet at 24. So anyway, I went through that year, and of course, trigger warning, COVID hit. So it was a completely different university experience to what I expected to get. And I think that academically affected everyone. But we get to the end of the year and I apply to transfer. Keeping my fingers crossed, yet again thinking, this one's gonna be the year you're gonna get it, 2020. That's the year you're gonna get it. Rejection. I pretty much got a rejection straight away, and I remember panicking, thinking, why did I get this rejection so quickly? Called them, everything. I'm on the phone going, why did I get this rejection? Yada, yada, yada. Turned out that they had sent a rejection to me early on accident, and I had to get it re-put through. And I had already gone through all the emotions of the rejection, you know. So anyway, I put it through again, through them. Go forward another 2 months, guess what? I was rejected anyway.
Yeah, double homicide.
I got 2 rejections for the price of 1, what a deal. And it was pretty much at this point that I 100% realised I would not be able to do this double degree. I was going to have to do it the long way, which is essentially finishing the degree that I had started, finishing my bachelor's degree, and then having to apply postgraduately to your Doctor of Veterinary Medicine. And I thought, okay, fine, if that's what I've got to do, that's what I've got to do. And that's when I decided to pull up my whole course structure and the subjects I was meant to be doing, everything. Cue a panic attack at 2 p.m. on a random Saturday when they decided to reject me, because I'd realised there was all these chemistry subjects that I had not done. There was all of these statistics subjects, which why am I doing statistics? Had to do those. And I had not done any of them when I was meant to have done them in first year. So basically I spent the next 3 years of my undergraduate degree catching up. Now mind you, that is kind of my fault. I should have sat there and looked at the course structure, but also just a general thing for anyone that wants to go to the University of Sydney. Extremely disorganised uni. So they don't exactly lend a helping hand for you. And I don't care. I'd say it to their face. So then at that point, I jam-packed my last 3 years, put everything that I needed into them, and just focused on getting my average further and further up, because I knew that my average would be really important when I was applying later. So now we fast forward to the end of 2023, which is when I graduated with my bachelor's degree. And that is when I applied postgraduately to the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Sydney. And I also did the Doctor of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Melbourne. And then you had months to wait. I remember having no idea that I was going to have to wait so long. I put through my applications in September and I didn't find out until early February the following year. And I remember freaking out that I didn't know what to do, because if I didn't get in, I was going to have to get a job. A proper job, an adult job. I didn't want to adult. Now, funnily enough, my University of Melbourne rejection came sooner, because it's actually kind of funny. I forgot to upload my academic transcript at the end of the year, so they auto-rejected me, which is funny now looking back on it, because sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I actually had uploaded it. But I knew at the time I wanted to go to Sydney. it was Sydney. I was only sending Melbourne through as a hee hee ha ha, not as anything serious. And then came the day. It was February. Let me paint the picture. I was walking out of work. I was thinking in my head, everything's gonna be fine. It's gonna work out. I open my emails. I see, we regret to advise you. And that by far was my worst rejection.
This is Corey having a fit.
I remember thinking so horribly about myself, thinking that I had put so much time and effort just to get nothing back, thinking this was the end of the world. Now I know to anyone that's recently gotten any kind of rejection, whether it's vet school or anything else, it is so annoying to hear this, but it is right. The rejection happens for a reason. Something else comes your way. It's such a cliche, but it's 100% true. I immediately went home. I was frantically applying for jobs, and I remember searching a month to 2 months for jobs and just getting to the interview stage, getting to the last steps, and they would always say to me, unfortunately, we pick someone with more experience than you. And then I think everybody has this experience, but you sit there and go, how was I meant to get experience when I was working on a degree? If you wanted experience, I would have got an experience, but then you'd say you want a degree. Anyway, in April, I finally had a job offer come my way. I remember being so happy, but basically I had gotten a job as an animal attendant in an emergency and specialist hospital, which could not have been better. It was basically exactly what I wanted. And I spent that year getting the best experience. I saw so many emergency situations. I got to be a part of so much stuff. I especially worked nights, or I didn't work overnight. I worked 4 p.m. to midnight. I saw tick paralysis, hit by car, I did CPR, I placed catheters. I did so many things that there's no way I would have thought I would have been able to do otherwise. Now, of course, we're up to where my last application was, which was again September. And I submitted the University of Sydney. And of course, the whole time I thought I'm getting into the University of Sydney. And in the darkness of my room, I did send through an application to the University of Melbourne thinking, I'm not getting in there. But you know what? I'm going to send it out anyway. So now we fast forward to this year, mid-January. I'm about to go in the shower actually, and I see a 1 on my emails. And I open my email and I see congratulations. And of course, I saw that first. So I'm thinking, thank God I got into Sydney, gonna accept it right now. And then I looked up and I saw the University of Melbourne. When I say I really well and truly didn't think I'd get in, I did not think I would get in. I went beep, 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 da. And I was on the phone too going, I can't accept this. I can't move to Melbourne. That's crazy. So I was kind of holding off responding to Melbourne for quite a while. And then a couple weeks later, Sydney rejected me again. And it took me weeks. I was constantly talking about it with the vets there, with everyone there. And the main thing that everyone kept telling me was, if you've been accepted somewhere, just go and do it. So eventually, of course, I accepted it, found the cheapest rent I could, and here I am. This is in no way where I expected to be in the slightest. If I talk to 18-year-old me again, the way this whole journey has gone has been completely opposite to what I would have thought. I got a completely different degree to what I wanted. I've had a whole year out of uni, which would have horrified young me. And the biggest one of all is the fact that I am in a different state in order to get this degree. And that's where I am now. A few weeks into vet school, currently 23 years old. Little 18-year-old me would have thought that was so ancient, and I'm sure whatever journey I end up going on is going to be completely different to what I'm thinking right now. And that's it. If you want to follow me along on this journey and see exactly where it does take me, please subscribe down below. It's free. If you have any questions about my journey, please leave them down below. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but that's it. Thank you. Bye.